Good morning, everybody. I'm at Al. When you expect something, you set yourself up for disappointment. And if you ever want to make God laugh, you tell him your plans. I've made it. Mission accomplishment, troop welfare. Two types of leadership. You got persuasive and you got authoritative. Now, I'm convinced that I want to use this moment wisely, and I'd like to thank everybody. I opened the door to a school and I closed the door to a prison. I don't think you have to be incarcerated to be in a mental bind, physical bind or spiritual bind. Which brings me to this analogy, that if you fall into a hole, there's only going to be two people that's going to take you out. It's either going to be God himself, reach into that hole and pull you out, or it's going to be family and friends. And timing is everything. Timing is everything. Studying social and environmental economics, we talked about the price of human life. It's very important, because it costs to live and it costs to die. And as a spiritual person, I'm not allowed to hurt myself or others. That's a medical disclosure. And but at the same time, us Native Americans, we knew that a long time ago. So, Joe namasan si to commit suicide or to hurt yourself. It's kind of a topic of which I like to talk about, because you got genetics, genetic coding. What makes an alcoholic? What makes an addict? Is it situation, time, and place? Is it deprivation? Is it just as simple as following the leader? Who is the leader? Who's in command? Well, from my point of view, my standpoint right now, from looking around, I would think that you are in command of your own soul, and that spiritual people are not afraid to die because they are living in hell. So everybody wants to die, but nobody wants to go to heaven. And yet you have to pick and choose what's going to be yours. So it's like leadership. You get to pick, like Peter McDonald, this Navajo who stole from his own people, ends up going to Washington wearing a redskin thing. That's some politics. You got to look into it. Who's pulling the strings? Then you have to look into education, to the awareness of your people. You're going to send them to secondary colleges like Pima or Brown Mackey, which are good schools, but it's better to go to an accredited school where you get to go to further places. And that's what it's about, because the sky is not the limit when there's footprints on the moon. And in regard to this needless suffering, I don't believe any of us should suffer in silence. As a former Marine, as a veteran, I believe in the things that I'm telling you. I believe in this. I believe in myself. I believe that there is a spiritual connection, which I will go so far as to say the energy felt technique, that if you willingly are open-minded and honest and vigorous with yourself, you're going to shape yourself into something very beautiful. It's like the rock being formed by the water being neutral. And trial and error, if at first you don't succeed, try again. And I think that's where we're at as a people, as a nation. Just that, we don't get it right and people just hold it against us right away. And being of service, helping out others. When I was younger, I read this book about this knight, this king. He had a contest. He put these knights on a circus course. You had different obstacles, and the first one was the knight who ran through the quickest, really, really quick. The second knight, second. There was a third knight who was worthy of all this, but at the same time he had stopped in different areas, and these people were like, "Can you help me? My wagon's stuck in the mud." And the knight's like, "I kind of on a race right now, but I'll stop and I'll help you out." You know, but meanwhile, the same person that was stuck in the mud asked the first person, and the first person was like, "I can't. I'm on a race." You know, but the second person was like, "I really like to, but I'm second. I'm trying to get to the first place." You know, so this third person, you know, he was like, "It's kind of critical that I be part of the race, you know, but I'm gonna stop and I'm gonna help you." And it turns out that that third person, was a person who, in retrospect, had the virtues that the king wanted to, in order for him to be in command. And that was because he followed his heart. He followed his heart. He wasn't trying to be first because first is first. You know, he wasn't trying to be second because second is second to none. You know, but third, you know, third is, in some places, some situations, equivocal to Father, Son, the Holy Ghost, love, hope, and prosperity. Third is often the last place, the black sheep, the child who, you know, barely gets enough. But those are the ones that actually become more intuitive, I would say, you know, and they adapt and overcome to any obstacles. They are so aware with their cumulative knowledge that they can recite most anything. The Holy Quran, kanino sitasiniku yeah ku yeah new taniku ku sno yotku yeah awe ya hey na awe ya hey, like stuff like that, like meta, like that, you know. That's a gift. That's a gift, man. And Socrates and Mimno, they had a discussion about this, and they were going through all this stuff, and at the end they come to the conclusion that knowledge is pre-existing and that it's a gift from the gods. So we have to take care of it here in the present. And you know, I make these little videos, you know, just because it's a substitution to my journaling, but I think it may actually influence others to take into account the philosophy of Native Americans. And on that note, selfishly, I like to present myself and say, yeah, I got shortcomings, I got character defects, you know. I love my baby's mama. I love my child. Although I'm not in a working relationship with them, I'm in a relationship with the power greater than myself, which is God. And I think through Him that anything can be accomplished. I think family, it's good, but you know, once you start taking inventory, then it adds up and adds up and adds up. Before you know it, somebody has to be willing to clean it up. And that's reconciliation. It takes two, you know, to reconcile. Both of them have to be willing to let go and let God, and, you know, come to the understanding that it only gets worse, you know, without being with each other. It's like there's pain in change, and there's pain in not changing. And I believe that we're all healers. Like, for instance, you can reach out and touch somebody. And I think that was just the technological advancement of civilization, Western civilization, as we understand it in this hemisphere. The elements have always been in control: the earth, wind, water, fire, love and strife. So you always go back to what you know, which is, you know, your point of reference for me, the sun, the photosynthesis of love and care, the overcoming desire of wanting something but not taking into account what you do have, which is your feet, your arms, your eyes, your gratitude of attitude. And at the same time, you know, there's different stories out there that I like to bring into moment, such as the White Knight, went out fighting for his kingdoms, for its ethics, its norms, and its values, and was fighting other knights, and was very courageous, and had a lot of good battles. Some of you have some real good war stories out there about fighting for your belief system, and at the last moment putting your hands up thinking reinforcements coming, and have that same color knight stick you. And when you look down, your whole armor, it's no longer white, no longer pure. It's got turns colors, it tarnishes. But underneath, you know who you really are. So we're quick to judge people on the outside appearances, but we're not really quick to understand each other's internal perspective. Our sensories are off. We dull it through energy, drinks, and sugar, and coffee. We're no longer sustainable on just life itself. We have to have these added components. And for that, people pray. And I pray for you. We're coming up to Christmas and holidays, and, believe in a miracle. Don't leave 5 minutes before the miracle happens. Now that we made it this far, we might as well keep on going. I have disturbances around me, but I work through it. I work through it so I can get you to pay attention to